If you're a contractual agent or a temporary agent working for an EU institution and you're preparing for an internal competition to become a functionary, a permanent official, this is for you. I'm Neil Urquhart. I've been coaching EU staff through internal competitions since 2012, and I've worked with over 350 candidates now. I've also been training staff at the European Union institutions since 2004, thousands of them. As a trainer at the European School of Administration, where I have designed and led courses on soft skills, and as a course designer and trainer on the certification program, where AST staff have to pass 3 different exams in writing, in negotiating, and presenting. And in that regard, we get to speak to the jury. The jury are trained by the same people as the internal competition jury. They are trained in the same philosophy, they're trained in the same way, they're trained in the same, looking for the same kind of things. And therefore, in this capacity as a trainer on the certification program, I got to speak to the jury. I got to know what they're really looking for. My clients are smart. They're experienced. They've been doing the job for years. They work at the Commission, the Parliament, the delegations, the agencies. They already know the institutions from the inside, but knowing the job and passing the competition are 2 completely different things. And even being a good writer, being a good bright person who writes good emails, different thing. Especially as you're competing with clones, clever, hardworking, well-qualified contractual staff just like you. That's where I come in. I help people pass the case study, the presentation, and the interview. Those are my specialties. I also help with something most coaches ignore or don't pay enough attention to: how to manage your nerves and stay on target when the pressure hits, how to manage your energy before and during the exam. So what kind of results are we talking about? Because that's what it comes down to, right? In 2025, 37 out of 50 of my one-to-one coaching clients for the 85 and 86 internal competitions passed the written test. That's a 74% success rate. To put that in context, the overall pass rate for the written test sits around 33% of those who get their tests marked after doing the MCQ. As I said, I've now worked with over 350 candidates. Some needed help with the written test, some with the presentation and interview. Some came to me weeks before the assessment center and said, I don't know where to start. But I wouldn't recommend that. That's really putting yourselves under extra pressure. The best time to start is now. The results, though, aren't random. They come from a method that I've created and honed over the past 14 years and focuses on what the juries are actually looking for, which brings me to the most important part of this video: why most candidates fail the written test. Here's what I see again and again. Candidates prepare hard. They read model answers, they memorize structures, they practice writing under time conditions, they get feedback from well-meaning colleagues. They write mostly as they do at work, and they still fail. Why? 2 main reasons. 1, they don't know how to think and write efficiently under pressure, or they think they do, but not as efficiently as you need to. And 2, they didn't get individual feedback from an expert, somebody who has marked thousands of papers, not just a few every so often, but thousands of papers. For the first one, reading, thinking, note-taking, and writing needs to be absolutely efficient. You've got to split the planning from the drafting and the editing. The planning, for example, you need to spend about 40% of your time planning. Not 10, not 20, but 40%. Drafting only needs to be about 25%, but it will only be around that figure if you do the planning right so you know what to write next, and if you avoid editing whilst you're writing. Then editing becomes 35% of your time. Wow. A whole half hour and 90 minutes to sit down and really review your document. The written test is not an essay competition. It's not a briefing exactly, or it's not a briefing as you would do at work. It's a case study. You're given competing priorities, incomplete information, and real constraints. The jury wants to see how you analyze, how you weigh options, how you make a recommendation you can defend with a red thread of logic that runs through the case study reply, your case study reply. Most candidates just answer the question. They just answer the questions, but they don't link them sufficiently. I'm not just talking about linking language between sections and paragraphs. I'm talking about linking the logic from the beginning all the way through to the end. They dump everything they know onto the page in their note-taking, and then they struggle to decide what to choose for their plan, along with lots of other mistakes that I see candidates making. The result is an answer that looks like it wasn't properly edited, that's imbalanced, the first section is too long, it's unclear, it's poorly edited. It's a borderline case at best. Here's what the jury is actually looking for again. Can you cut through complexity? Can you identify what matters most? Can you propose something concrete, justify, explain why? Can you prioritize your recommendations? Which ones are the most important? And that takes judgment, not just knowledge. And judgment is the one thing you can't fake by memorizing a template. The other killer is time management. I've hinted at this already. Candidates spend too long reading, too long planning, and run out of time before they've written their recommendation. Or they write everything in order, and the strongest thinking ends up rushed at the bottom of the page, but not linked into everything else. And that reduces the impact. Strong candidates, from my perspective, do three things differently. First, they take notes and structure around a decision, not a summary of the documents. The case study gives you information. Your job is to use it, not restate it. Secondly, they have a clear and well-justified recommendation early, not recklessly, but with enough conviction that the jury can see a mind at work, not a machine reproducing content. Third, they manage their time ruthlessly. They know how long to spend reading, how to take notes to maximize their time, how long to spend planning, drafting, and editing. And they protect time at the end for a real edit, not just fixing typos and grammar. The candidates who fail are often the ones who knew the most but communicated the least on the page. You need to put your thinking on the page. It needs to be explicit, because otherwise the jury never sees what you're capable of. If you've got an internal competition coming up and you want to stop guessing and start preparing properly, book a free 30-minute consultation with me. No obligation, just honest advice on where you stand and what to focus on. The link's below.